Hello everyone, this is Chetan Mehta from SkillCubator, and in today's session we'll discuss the difference between FPS, which is functional breakdown structure, and WBS, which is work breakdown structure. I get this question a lot, and even in my training sessions people do ask me what's the difference between FPS and WBS. And the agenda of this session is to explain these two terms, and hopefully by the end of the session you will be clear with the difference between what is FPS and WBS. So it's going to be a short session where I will go over a concept of decomposition, then I'll explain what is FPS, and then what is a WBS, the difference between FPS and WBS. We'll take some examples of FPS and WBS and why these two terms are important from the SDLC perspective, like a software development lifecycle perspective, and also important from a business analysis perspective. So here the term decomposition, it's a pretty common term. You might have heard about that term, decomposition. So decomposition means a process of breaking down complex things, right, so that we can understand that complex thing in a much more better way, in a much more simpler way. So here the examples I'm taking is, you're trying to solve a math problem. You're given a math problem, you're trying to solve it. So first thing you do is you understand it, and then you start breaking it down into smaller components so that you can solve it and get to the right solution. Right, that's one example. Second example, you can think of, you go to some store, especially in the the Western world, US or Europe. You will see that the product, for example, you want to go and buy a furniture. You go to IKEA to buy a furniture, and most likely you will get a knocked down version of a furniture. That means everything is dismantled and it's packed in a bag or a box, right? So you need to take that box, come home, and then put everything together because it's all dismantled. It's been decomposed, right? It has been broken down into small components. And the third example, it can also be a something intangible, like you're planning a vacation, right? So you plan a vacation. What do you do first? You select a destination. Once you are done with that, you go to you start building your itinerary, where to go, which places to visit, things like that. And then you start booking your flight tickets, hotel rooms, car rental, things like that, right? So you go from top to bottom. Now, common element in all these three examples is the term decomposition. So you start from a high level and then you break it down into smaller components so that it's much easy to manage and it's much easy to handle it. So the term decomposition is common across FPS and WBS. In both these concepts, you're trying to decompose into a smaller component at a much more finite level, much more granular level. Now, when I talk about the FBS, functional breakdown structure, we're talking about the product scope. Now, whether you're building an application, software, system, or any other tangible product like a mobile phone or a gadget, or even an intangible thing like a service, right? So you start with a high level scope of the product and you start breaking it down into much more finite level of features or requirements. That's basically the FPS. So again, FPS, let's take an example that we are building a new application. So you start with an application, go down to different modules, sub-modules, features, and then system level requirements. That's FPS. Whereas WBS is more concerned with the project scope, the activities we are going to do in order to build that product, whether it's an application, system, software, gadget, or a service. So at a WBS level, we are more concerned with the project, the activities we are going to do in that project, the work packages, and then the deliverables which will be delivered to the client in order to complete the project successfully. That's WBS. So here's an example of FPS. Let's imagine we are building an online banking system. So that's at the top. Then I'm decomposing that online banking system into different modules. So for example, I have two modules here. One is core banking module, and then the second one is my wealth management module. So I've decomposed one big system into two small components. Right? So again, I can go to one step further or one step down and say, okay, I want to define or further decompose my modules into submodules. So again, I'm saying create account, user management. These are submodules belonging to my core banking module, which in turn is linked to my online banking system. Same thing here. My wealth management module is again decomposed into two submodules, manage 401k and trade equities. I can go further down, come to a feature level and define the features. Again, go down and define the system level requirements. So I'm building a sort of traceability from top to bottom. But here my goal is to understand the product in a much more better way. So I start from the top and I can go down right at the system level requirements, where I can define each and every system level requirement which will be part of my online banking system. That's my FPS. And the importance of FPS. Again, it helps us to see the big picture, right? Depending on my role, I can get to the details of this online banking system. For example, I'm a CEO of the firm. I may not need to go at a system level requirements. I can just go at a module level and get all the information. The second benefit or importance of FPS is that it hides the complexity and gives us much more flexibility to drill down further. Again, as I said, depending on how much information you want to see, you can go to that extent. Third benefit is it helps us build a traceability across the requirements. It's sort of a traceability because we are linking each and every component of the product we are building. And finally, we can also use this FPS to better manage the product scope. Which features will be part of the system, which won't be. We can use this FPS and manage the scope of the product we are building. Now let's see the work breakdown structure, WBS. Now the concept is same, but instead of product, I'm dealing with the project here. So the same online banking system, but now I'm not concerned with the features or the requirements. I'm more concerned with what activities will be done as part of the project of building the online banking system. What will be the deliverables I need to deliver it to the client to complete the project successfully. So as you can see here, my online banking system is at the top. Beneath that, I have different functions or the functional areas. I have the project management, requirements, design, development, testing. So these activities will be done as part of my project. I'm again breaking it down into work packages, deliverables. So for example, here I'm saying I'll create these deliverables, create the project plan, charter, I'll be doing the requirements elicitation, analysis, documentation, validation. So these are the deliverables which are part of the project management. Under the requirements, these are sort of my work packages, right? The amount of work I need to do in order to complete my requirements. Same thing here, testing. I'll be doing the manual testing, I'll be doing some automation testing. So the same testing function or the activity has been decomposed into two different sub-activities, so to speak. Right? So the concept is similar, but here we are more concerned with the activities we are doing as part of the project. Now, what's the benefit of this WBS? Kind of same. Helps us to see the big picture, hides the complexity, and gives us more flexibility to see more details. Here we are trying to build a traceability across the activities, tasks, work packages, and the deliverables. Of course, as a PM, it's a good way to see my list of activities I'll be doing or my team will be doing. So it helps in a better project management, and we can also use this as an input for cost estimation. So basically, as I said, FPS and WBS helps us to kind of see big picture, as well as we can go and see all the complexity and details if we drill down further. Helps us build traceability across the components. FPS helps us to manage the product scope, whereas WBS helps us to manage the project scope. So basically that's the difference between FPS and WBS. So hopefully I have given a clear definition and clear examples explaining these two terms, and hopefully you have learned something out of it. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching this video, and for all your training needs, please do contact us on 703-200-9921. You can email us back on info@skillcubator.com. The website name is www.skillcubator.com. Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day. See you for now. Bye.